Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I'm a very happy person. Trump won. It's a very good thing for somebody such as myself that was maybe still is a mind control victim, was sex trafficked, controlled, used as a white slave, a prostitute, and a courtesan, to have somebody like Trump win. Here's the trick: there's going to have to be an awful lot of wisdom applied to all of these situations where people behaved poorly. Obviously, we cannot and should not put them to death. Obviously. This is a planet of light and dark. The light cannot be seen unless there's a contrast with dark. And we're all playing out a dynamics that is not explained to us. And the person that explained it to me when I started my therapy process was my sister when I was crying all over the place and in shock and choosing psychologists and being referred to psychologists that specialized in torture victims and prisoners of war. My sister said, "You know, you chose this." And I said, "I'm not that dumb. But you know what? I did choose it. And so did you choose everything that happened to you and that's happening to you in order to align yourself with your mission in this incarnation." So, that being said, it's not easy to accept. But unless we accept it, we continue the cycle of being able to point our fingers at people and saying, "That's a bad person and I'm a good person." Meanwhile, we all have a lot of darkness inside. So I'm very happy about the results of the elections. And now we just need to be spiritually sophisticated. When I came up with that phrase a couple of years ago, people got irritated at me. They didn't like the term. And they said, "Well, it means that the person knows more than the average person, having to do with the other dimensions and the spirit world and what life is like for the human beings in the other dimensions where it's spiritual." And they just didn't like it. But of course, these were people that are not spiritually sophisticated. We have got to become spiritually sophisticated, everyone. And these chats, which we turn into podcasts, and everything it is that I do, has to do with getting you to, dragging you into, pushing you into, coaxing you into exploring the other dimensions to where your lens is more open, third eye, um, and your wisdom augments. Because once you can see what is really going on, including with the bad people that did bad stuff to you, then you go, "Oh, I get it. I get it." And I'm going to repeat the story that everybody who knows shamanism, but real shamanism, not the guy that shows up in town with all the white robes and everything and looks like Jesus Christ, even though Jesus Christ was a shaman. But they're not looking for that look. They're looking for the adoration without having the skill. So in shamanism, there's a story that was told to me many years ago after I had already experienced it several times. Some of the experiences are so traumatic that I really cannot share them because you're not ready to accept them. But this shaman told me that the animals know when human beings, we're talking about before when we lived outdoors in caves, etc., the animals would know that human beings needed to eat. And so they would go to the river and hang out, waiting for the hunters to come and to kill them so that they would have food. And the animals knew this and did it purposefully. Oh, what a beautiful little story. Yes, now apply that to your enemy. And then it gets more complicated mentally. But you need to do it because if not, we just extend the mess of what life has been like on planet Earth of duality. And we're supposed to be resolving that duality right now. So I'm very happy about the results of the elections. We have left the age of information, the age when you're sitting at a dinner table, somebody says something and somebody goes, I'm going to check that on Google. All of a sudden they stop eating, they take out their phone, they check it, and they go, look, this is what it says. And everybody's pleased, especially the person that found it. Look what I found. That's the age of information. We're kind of out of that now. We're in the age of transformation. Totally different. It's not a question of getting enough information. It's a question of looking for the transformation, even if you don't quite get it. And under those conditions is how Trump is entering this cycle with an opportunity to help us to transform, which means it's not just the facts, but it is a spiritual angle of it that has to do with what you wanted before you incarnated. Okay, so you're going to say, well, he doesn't really believe in reincarnation. Okay, don't believe in reincarnation. Just make that be this lifetime. The resistance to examining reincarnation from certain people in this part of the world is silliness. Because if you do minimal amount of research and you check out all the other religions, all the other medicines, they all believe in reincarnation and they're not dummies. Actually, when you get sick, you should pray that you can go to somebody from those other religions, those other medical belief systems, etc., because they can actually do stuff for you that over here we consider a miracle. So, but I'm going to drop the reincarnation thing because I know that's kind of hard for a lot of people because you think that the person that you admire, such as Jesus Christ, didn't believe or understand the whole reincarnation issue. And we're not going to argue about that. This is not the place for it. So, in an age of transformation, how does that change everything? You don't need to know all the information about your chakra system. You just need basics. You need to know the 7 major ones, and you need to know which organs are controlled by which energy center, chakra. And then when you get sick, you look up the organ, you find the energy center, the chakra, and then you look up what can help to heal, transform that energy center. You don't need to know all the details about them. It's okay if you want to do that. But do not waste your time on that because that's not where we're at and that's not going to get you to where you want to be. So the age of Google, past. The age of information, past. The age of transformation, right here. And it's very exciting. It's really, really, really exciting. Politics and emotional dishonesty. First, let me get into just emotional dishonesty. Emotional dishonesty is when you show, even to yourself, a very prostituted version of what you're feeling as a reaction to things. Your sister does something god awful, and you go, you know what can I tell you? I feel sorry for her. She's just not well, and she didn't really mean it. Meanwhile, inside of you, you're really angry that your sister would do that to you. But you do mentally understand why she did it, and we need that. But you didn't take care of your emotional response to what she did, which is totally different. It's a different energy center, it's a different energy body. So when you understand something mentally, you have not addressed what makes you sick, which is repressed negative emotions. So being emotionally honest, which doesn't mean you need to let people know how you feel, it means that you need to process it and not just stuff it inside of yourself. That's really important. And I was telling the Mantrista movement yesterday in the chat that I have noticed something. People have different types of consciousness: angelic, dolphin, whale, um, galactic. I had a galactic boyfriend once. This is not so much fun. Um, if you're angelic, which is a significant percentage of the population of the world, and Venezuela, as an example, is mainly of people with angelic consciousness, and you are in planet Earth, you're like freaked out. You're like, what is this? People are so unkind. How can they do that? Oh my God, it's breaking my heart. But you don't do that. You just kind of react. And I remember I have a granddaughter who's angelic, and everybody else in the family is dolphin consciousness. And when she was born and when she was little, all she wore was pink. It was so cute. And as the years went by and she got beaten up by the reality of what being a human being on planet Earth is like, and especially a human being that's angelic, she wasn't wearing the pink anymore. She wore some pink, not so much. She could not have kept that angelic quality, nor can practically anybody. So what happens to angelic consciousness people? They turn themselves into pretzels, and they hide that part of them that is in such pain because of what they see, and then they start to adopt the way other people behave, except it's totally against their essence. And they become, what I have found is they become very repressed, and they're just not who they are. Not being who you are is a problem today. It's not like not being who you were 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 300 years ago, where you could just simply be a neurotic, whatever. And I'm not saying all angelics are neurotic, but I have to tell you that most of them are, and and they don't even remember because we're not told this when we're born that they are angelic and that life is going to be really hard for them because this planet doesn't have that vibration. So you have a lot of people that are running around being something that they're not, and then becoming increasingly distorted. And I'm talking about angelics, but then I'm talking also about dolphins who are not allowed to be sensual, playful, community. They got to run a company, they got to run. Or the whales. The whales, people that are whale consciousness, the first animal God put on the planet, they're very heavy energy. They're very real. The most evolved of all of them, lots of wisdom, lots of vision, and that vision makes them very depressed. They're heavy, heavy energy and heavy consciousness. And if they don't kind of understand that, first they end up with massive depressions. They're generally not thin. They can be, but they're generally not thin. And they have to hold on to something that can make them survive the heaviness of living on planet Earth. So a lot of them have addictions. All of these things is information that needs to be available to everybody so that people can be spiritually sophisticated about who they are and then start to take into consideration what their needs are. And you can know what your children are and know what their needs are. I have a child who's a Pisces. I didn't know anything about astrology. I'd never had any training in that. So when I was raising my children, I didn't take the astrology into consideration. And Pisces are very secretive. They're very private. They really don't want anybody to know anything about them, especially what's going on inside. If they have troubles, they're not going to share it. That's basically, any astrologer will tell you that's true. They come into this incarnation very evolved, but very beaten up at all the injustices and pain they've seen in other lifetimes. So they come in, they look and they go, oh no, and they shut themselves in a box. They don't want to hear it, they don't want to see it. Even though inside that box, this horror story is fermenting, but they're comfortable inside their box. So I had a child that was a Pisces. I have a child that's a Pisces. I'm a helicopter Cancer mom. Not good for the child. I wanted to know everything. I wanted to make sure that this child was safe. And this child didn't want me to know anything. Who's wrong? Nobody. But I was not spiritually sophisticated. I didn't have the information that if I had it, it would have made everything relate in terms of relating, which is what we want, more easier on both of us. So we're talking about integrating information that is centuries old, centuries of observations and drawing conclusions, which is the definition of science, and we have ignored it, and we cannot ignore it any longer. In terms of health, with this new administration, we have RFK, who's going to be in charge of our health. Thank you. Can I please light 3 candles? I never light candles, but I'll light 3 candles that this man is protected and can give us what we deserve, which is health care that makes sense. That, by the way, probably 50 times, 100 times, 1,000 times cheaper than the health care that we have today. You don't have to spend all that money on medicine. Sometimes just one good mantra can blow out an illness. One good mantra, a simple mantra, will reduce your blood pressure. Means you don't have to be on blood pressure medication. So I'm hoping that RFK is spiritually sophisticated. Spiritual has nothing to do with religion. Spiritual has to do with the non-physical part of you, which is what gets sick, your spirit, your astral body. So, in terms of emotional dishonesty and not living what you are, what is the link to health? And I said this example yesterday, I said it today, this afternoon, I'm going to say it now again. When I was working on root cause of cancer, nobody's going to shoot me, right? Oh no, Trump is president. Okay, so I'm not going to get shot. When I was working on the root cause of cancer, I did a lot of research. I already knew what the root cause was, but I wanted to know what society was saying. And it turned out that medical doctors that deal with cancer say that cancer patients are really nice people. They're sweet. They're very nice. They always have this smile on their faces. And it's such a shame that they get cancer. Well, cancer is a disease of repressed rage and impotence. So it's not that they're not sweet, it's that they're emotionally dishonest, and what is on their face is not matching what it is that made them ill. Now, I'm not, what I discovered in my research totally corresponds with Reda and Chinese medicine knows. So the being emotionally honest is really important. We need to be able to deal with our emotions. We don't have to let other people know. You could just do a mantra. Silently, nobody needs to know. But you have to address it rather than stuff it. The definition of the word emotion means to move out. How many psychologists, psychiatrists know that? Zero. My living master, who's passed already, said to me, "You don't have the right to talk about anything unless you look up the words first in the dictionary." And it turns out that the words, the root, usually of the words that I have looked up have an energetic component that kind of explains things. Emotion, emote, move out. How do you get sick? You didn't emote your reaction to something that happened to you. In terms of cancer, I don't know that that's the case anymore because of all the radiation, which too much fire, so it augments cancer. But when I did the research, it was between 24 and 27 months after an incident in which your reaction was, I hate this, but I can't do anything. So let it go. But you don't let it go. You stuff it. You don't process it, you stuff it. Emotional dishonesty. Let's integrate all of these things into the new medical system, which will totally be holding hands with Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine. And I don't know how much talking regular shamans did, but if they did, they would be talking about it also. Emotional dishonesty, being emotionally honest. And now let's go to the liberals who just lost an election. What is this thing with the liberals? They want to take care of all of the immigrants and they want to give them all this stuff that apparently they're giving them. I'm not talking about the people behind the scenes controlling the liberals. I'm talking about the liberals that have bought what was sold to them and actually believe that they really want this for everybody. Somebody is given extra help because they didn't have quite the background. So when they're going to go to school, they get all this extra help, and then they end up in a job and they're hired because they're a Hispanic female and they need Hispanic females, but that person is not quite as talented, but we have to do it dishonest, doesn't work. Doesn't work. What is going on with the liberals in this country that they have these incredible meltdowns? There was something on X where somebody walked up to a woman's home and said, "We want to know if you agree that the immigrants should be allowed in and they should be taken care of. And if you do, please sign here. And the woman signed, and it was very nice. And then the guy said, "Excuse me a minute," and he went, "Come on down." And he had a car full of people that he had picked up from Home Depot, the ones that wait out there to see if you need them to help put up a fence or whatever. And he said, "Come on down." And the woman said, "What is that?" He said, "Well, you just signed that you think that this country should take care of all these illegal immigrants. You just signed a document, didn't you?" "Yeah, but I did not mean." They never went into how they really feel about it. It's very intellectual. They didn't deal with their astral spirit body, they only dealt with their mental body. And intellectually, of course, we want to take care of the whole world. Don't we have the Statue of Liberty? But if you bring it down to the emotional, which is a completely separate energy vessel, energy vehicle, which I will show you now, it's a completely different story. And that is what is getting revealed about the liberals. When it comes to the bottom line of how do you feel about this emotionally, not intellectually, emotionally, because theoretically we're democratic, we should take them all in. That's what built this country. How do you feel about it emotionally? Totally different story. So let me show you the bodies and what it is that the liberals need to heal from. The liberals and a lot of nice women and whatever that end up being whatever. These are our energy, our physical body, and our energy bodies. All the way to the left, you have your physical body. Then you have your etheric, which is your electric. That's the one that we have to be careful with all the radiation. That is your immune system. Chinese medicine, acupuncture, opening up blocked electrical lines, which are the meridians. Okay, the next body, the gold, is your astral spirit body. Your astral body, it is known, is your emotional body. It is composed of astral particles, which are particles of emotion. It's your spirit. When they say in the movie, "May the Force be with you," they're saying, we hope that your emotional spirit body is aligned with your physical body. Because if it is, you're going to be really, really strong. Okay, and then you go back to those strings that extend from the body with all the chakras with the colored balls in them. That's your mental body. So let's say you're a left type person, left inclined person. Mentally, those strings you want, and in terms of the center, which is where your intentions are, your intentions is for everybody to be okay. And your mental body is like these concepts of we're democratic and we need to have all those people come in. Okay, those two bodies, okay, you're harmonious with yourself. But your most important body is not your physical. It's not any of the others. It's your spirit body, the ones that's emotions. And those are the ones that emotionally can't deal with what they feel and espouse intellectually. And they don't understand that it's a completely different body. Yes, we all want democracy. We want to take care of everybody, 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 everybody. But when it is in your yard, your zip code, your front door, it's a different story. When it's your kid bringing home somebody that we're all created equal, and your kid is bringing somebody that doesn't even speak your language, and you're like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Your emotional astral body, which is where your strength is not compatible with your concepts, with those intentions that you espouse. And it creates a lot of havoc. We're going to have a lot of breakdown of people that are going to be confronting what it is that they espouse and their reaction to what it is that they're saying needs to happen, and then having it happen. And now I would like to get onto a not comfortable part of this conversation, which is what Trump has inherited in terms of human history. I do a chat every Wednesday at 2 in Spanish, and it's called Ask Francis. And people come and they can ask me basically anything. I tell them I don't want to be a gossip, so don't ask me about what's your adult kid that's already married, if he left the home and you don't ask me what's going on with his wife, his job, or whatever, because that is gossip. If he doesn't want to tell you, you have to ask yourself why he doesn't want to tell you. And then, of course, I had to confront my own thing, helicopter cancer, psychic mom, wanting to know everything. If they don't want to tell me, there's a reason for it. And I'm going to have to live with that. That has not been easy, but we all have our challenges. So we have a situation going on now. So anyway, I have these chats on Wednesdays, and a lot of times there's like a theme. Like it could be diabetes, it could be did the spirit of your mother go to the light? She has passed. Today it was not good. Today it was 20 different versions of I don't want to live. Somebody said, I just want to incarnate means to be born. And in Spanish, the word is easier translated, but the opposite of incarnate. I want to be unalive. In other words, I want to be dead. She put that in the chat. Once I started to discuss it openly. People were saying, I have absolutely no motivation. I don't want to even move. Somebody else was saying, I don't even know why I'm living. I don't have anything. But I mean, several people, one after the other, and I was like, wait a second. And I finally remembered that I have a sketch, because every time they ask me that, this is what I would see. And this is what I need for Trump to hear, because he's inheriting a process. And if he doesn't get a grip on it by being spiritually sophisticated, it's going to end up looking like under his watch, everything just completely went south. No, we've been going south for a while. But unless you understand the other dimensions, which is what the ETs are and the spaceships, you're going to get completely trashed. It's going to look like it's Trump's fault that everything fell apart. No, we were in a process of falling apart. Can we bring this back? If we understand what's going on, which the Bible tried to tell us, and the Mayans and everything, but because we don't know anything about the parts of us that are in the other dimensions, which is what the Lord's Prayer, original in Aramaic, is all about. But we didn't get that version. We got the version that turned us into victims. If we don't get a grip on this now, it's going to look like we chose the wrong president. The decisions that are being made are wrong. No, we have been on a horrible path because we haven't known enough about ourselves, and we haven't paid attention to ethics in terms of technology, which means we have to slow down a little bit to figure out how it affects people. And we're here. Trump gets elected. Great intentions. My chat today at 2 made my blood run cold because of what everybody was, not everybody, a significant percentage of the questions were from people that basically were telling me, I don't want to live. Now, several weeks ago, when I was setting up these new chats that I have having to do with your Kundalini and your head, and I cut all the implants, matrix implants, and then these new attacking spirits called Xenos, Zenos. I wrote a little thing. I asked the dolphins about it, and they gave me some instructions and recommendations. And then they said, go ahead and set up a chat for people, sessions, ongoing sessions for people who want to die. And I went, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, what the title of it? I want to die. And they went, within several weeks, you'll see why we told you to do this. This is several weeks. And I understand why they told me to do that. Too many of us want to die. Now, what's that all about? Well, because we don't know anything about astral particles, which are particles of emotion, and like nanotechnology, we have enemies off planet that know how to collect it and send emotional viruses onto planet Earth. And I haven't checked, but they've done this several times before, and I'm sure that's what's going on now also. They've sent a virus, or for whatever reason, a significant percentage of people really don't want to live. And when you don't intend on living, you don't really want to live, you manage that somehow. You get run over. There's another plague and you die, but you didn't want to live anyway. But let me show you what it is that happens to their astral spirit body, which is what you think separates from the physical body when somebody dies and you're in a funeral home or somebody says, "Oh, my father who died a week ago, he came to visit me in a dream last night," and you think that that spirit of him, just out of nowhere, when the physical body died, it just popped up. You have one of those since before you're born as part of your system, your assemblage of bodies. But let me show you what it looks like when you keep moving forward, but you really just want to die. Okay? This is what it looks like. There you got the physical body that's skin color. You have the blue one, which is the etheric electrical body, which is your immune system. And then you have your astral spirit body, which is the red one. It is inclined forward. So it leaves a space in the assemblage of bodies. And what comes into that space is not an angel, it's a spirit. And it is the process of becoming a zombie. So I don't remember, but I think I'm going to have somebody go back to my chat today, which ended up being twice as long as I normally do it. As I was getting increasingly depressed and overwhelmed with what the questions that it wasn't just the questions they were asking me, it was what I was seeing when I went to look for the answer to their question, which was that their spirit body, their spirit, was bent over and their physical body was up like this in the etheric, and they look like they're fine, but they're not. And I know two or three of these people that ask questions. They're part of the group, but they are zombie material. They are already zombies because nothing is left empty. Nothing is left empty. So, Trump, you are inheriting a country that is extremely important in the middle of a spiritual crisis because people have not known enough about themselves. One of our problems in this part of the world is the marketing disinformation that was done on Jesus Christ. When people want to talk about Jesus Christ, they'll generally throw the book at you. Some quotes from the Bible. Okay, well, the Bible also told people to kill their kids and a lot of other stuff, and you don't throw that quote at people, do you? No, but you can't be doing that. That's selective thing you can't be doing. And people are not running around saying, "I live like Jesus Christ." They're not doing that, which is what they should be doing. It says this, and this shouldn't be, and a lot of finger pointing. Quit with the finger pointing, because we're going to go all down together. So, Trump, you are inheriting a very important country, and you have an opportunity to become spiritually sophisticated, which means you have to let go a little bit of what has held all of us back, having to do with the other dimensions, okay, which our religions have tried to control our relationship with the other dimensions, our relationship with spirits. Did they ever tell us that we have a spirit attached to us that's us since conception? No. No. But they will offer to take care of your spirit once your physical body dies. Do you know how banged up your spirit is by then? You want to control your physical behavior when it is what's inside that's really going to mess us all up. So all of us need to become spiritually sophisticated. And a cute example is this. Everybody's talking about defend the Constitution and you have to follow the Constitution. And then when they see the third eye in the dollar bill, they're no longer as happy with whoever, 100 some years ago, chose to put this on our dollar bill. No. We got some conspiracy going on here. No, you don't have a conspiracy. The conspiracy is what was done to you to stop you from understanding what's in the other dimensions, which is where reality is created and where it's so easy to manipulate you if you don't really understand anything about it. To have the eye on the dollar bill, and I'm not going to go into the whole explanation, but exactly where it's positioned, which is not in the middle of that pyramid, to have that third eye there means that whoever designed that wanted for us, in terms of this country, we're looking at a dollar bill from the United States or whatever, or a $10 bill, to be spiritually sophisticated and seek money, issues related to money, to business, that there be wisdom, because the third eye is about wisdom. Now, if you don't know that, then you got a problem. Then you want to know all about that conspiracy and try to figure out if it was a Freemason or a Mason or whatever else, Illuminati. I don't know if they supposedly existed then. Rather than going, so they put that on the third on the bill, and we're not remembering that in terms of, and everybody knows that that eye is in the third eye and it's in the forehead. Okay, this is not news, or it shouldn't be news to you. So look what they did to Jesus Christ to completely block his third eye. And look what has been done to us, having to do with the fluoride, which RFK says is going to be out of our water within weeks. This is good. But if you look at fluoride, you'll find that the main thing that it destroys is your third eye. So you get people that are wise enough to put the third eye on your dollar bill, and you're pointing fingers that it's a conspiracy. Not spiritually sophisticated. People were irritated when I brought out that phrase, spiritually sophisticated, but that's because they're not spiritually sophisticated. I don't expect any of you to be if you're in this part of the world. That's why I was born, and a lot of other people were born and are trying to get information to you so that you can expand your lens and you can benefit from information that's thousands of years old and that works instantly, and most of it is cheap and free. The whole thing with the medical is so ludicrous that it's embarrassing. To have the ETs come and see the way we handle health, they got to think we're dumb as a rock. It doesn't make any sense. You can't get sick physically until you've already been sick 24 to 27 months ago, having to do with cancer. Now, I don't know in terms of other diseases. That was the one I did the most research on. So then why don't we go ahead and take care of the other dimensional parts of us in health, and then we don't have to deal with the very expensive treatments of the physical body. Once you get sick on the physical, you have been sick for at least months before. And so that's why they call it preventive. Or maybe they don't know why they call it preventive medicine. It's preventing your physical body from being sick, but you already have your symptoms in the other dimensions, the other bodies. And even though they don't know about the bodies, they can guide the symptom. If we don't take care of this, you're going to have this disease. No, you already have that disease. It just hasn't landed yet in your physical body. So I didn't really mean to go on and on about all of this, because honestly, I'm super excited about the fact that Trump is here, super excited about JFK being in charge of health, and Elon Musk. I mean, come on. And then I have my chat, 2:00 this afternoon, and I see what it is that we're going to be dealing with. A lot of us are going to be filled with joy, but we are going to get trashed by the volume of people that are going down. And they're not going down on their own. There's a lot of outside interference, a lot of invasions onto the planet of spirits. Oh, but you don't believe in spirits. Okay, your religion does. So stop looking up stuff on Google unless it has to do with all of this. And try not to get a New Agers version of this, because they are so sweet and so nice. They don't deal with the dark part. And as I said to you, and this is just a cute thing, and then we'll go ahead and do a mantra. Then I need to show you the sketches of the United States. I am having such huge issues having to do with the sex trafficking and money that is owed to me. And people have tried to prove that I'm mentally ill. So therefore, I don't know how they could do that. Because even if I was mentally ill, if there's a document that says I'm supposed to have money, shouldn't it come to me anyway? But anyway, I'm not mentally ill. And I went in the 90s, to all the recommended psychologists and Dr. Colin Ross. No mental illness, dissociative disease due to severe stress. But anyway, so in looking up, trying to figure this whole thing out, because it turns out that I'm being left in the dark, and I'm not sure that if I'm being left in the dark because there was a contention that I was mentally ill and I couldn't defend myself in court. Are you give me a break? Give me a break. Like I said to somebody, I have money in the bank, I have stocks, I have a paid off car. I have never been picked up by the police. There's never been an incident of me being out of control. I'm a mind control victim. I never took one psychiatric drug or pill. I know a lot of people that have. I don't have an addiction, alcohol, drugs. My addiction was sugar. Um, and worrying. That's another addiction. So, but anyway, I was looking online because I can't leave my house because there's something going on that's really big, and it's actually been recommended that I just not move. So I'm not moving until the coast is clear. So I, as you know, I look at a lot of astrology online, and I have the big screen TV, and then you have all these things. And I clicked on a couple that were tarot card readers, and then I clicked on more. And I, as I already told you, the Black women tarot card reader can assess my situation and give me more information. I'm not asking them anything. This is online. They don't know who I am. I've never met them before. I'm just clicking as to what they're putting out. They have more and more accurate assessment of my situation than the white tarot card readers because they are perhaps more used to that level of darkness in their lives because of what has been done to people, Black people in this country. So you're going to go to somebody who's not spiritually sophisticated, which means they really would prefer not to deal with darkness. They don't want it, whether it's in medicine. So anyway, so you have a medical doctor who's not spiritually sophisticated. If somebody is dying because of black magic, they're not going to, it's not within their paradigm. They're not going to diagnose it correctly. They're going to run around like a chicken without their head. Well, we never figured it out. It's probably such and such a thing because they cannot ever say, we don't know. They'll go, it's probably, in order to be able to hold their position of authority, that they kind of have a grip on things. So the whole spiritually sophisticated angle is very important. So let me get these things in order so that you can see. By the way, I have no mail. No mail. US mail, no mail. The head of the Coral Gables postal system put a request in several weeks ago, nada. And then not the head of the Coconut Grove postal system. He got really weird on me. So one of the people that was there at the counter came over and said, I'll take care of it. And she registered another formal address change, 13 weeks from the 22nd of August. No mail. Other than new companies that I'm working with to where it's not forwarded. So we don't know, and we suspect that there's some kind of a court system going on. There's some kind of something that people are trying to contact me, or the bad guys don't want them to contact me. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here twiddling my thumb and feeling like I was confused first. And then I realized this is obviously a plan. And I don't think it's working for them, according to the Black tarot card readers. Because if you read enough of them, and I have had too much time, if you read enough of them, they're going, you won, it's taken care of. They're trashing of your reputation. You know, the people asked a couple of questions and they realized this wasn't true. Da, 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 da. Anyway, so here we go. With, this is, excuse me, I should have had it before. And then I'm going to sketch it now. But actually, what I should actually sketch is what everybody looks like. Because I stopped sketching what we look like. Okay, here we go. The 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. And last night would have been the 5th. Okay. So on the 3rd, when I sketched the United States, the heart chakra was depressed. Okay? And then we went ahead and we did the mantras, and we were able to get the frequency blue, which is throat chakra, and it's flowing very nicely. And then we have a nice heart there. And then we have Florida, Nile green, which is the color of healing, which is also the part of the United States that corresponds in Feng Shui with helpful friends. And then this is still the 3rd? Yep, it's still the 3rd. We did our work. No, that was the 4th. This was initially on the 3rd, And this was after we did the work. And that word is called jubilo, means joy. And we were spinning in the correct direction to anchor joy. And then people started to see turtles. And turtles is the animal in Mayan culture that's the most evolved, and it has to do with joy. This is the United States. This is good. And that was the third. And then on the fourth, this is what we saw, which is very good. It had kept the frequency, whatever. And then on the fifth, which would have been yesterday morning, this is how we were at 12 noon. No, 8:44, no, 12. This is us at 12 noon, the United States. I have great notes. And this heart is already not depressed, it's black. I mean, it's red, anger, rage. We do still have this. And then we have spaceships. And this is the first time this has happened. We have people that supervise the planet, which I never believed in before. And I have only really recently kind of accepted and recently felt comfortable enough to talk about it. But those spaceships are from the Great White Brotherhood, the Galactic Federation that supervises planet Earth, so that the other galactic bad guys don't really trash us in 2 seconds flat. And they were there defending. This is yesterday at 12 o'clock, which we had a meeting, the Mantrista movement, online to do healings. So we went ahead and we put a lot of ice on the United States to reduce the fire so that there wouldn't be violence. Did you notice that with as frustrated and angry as everybody has been about the elections, did you notice there was no violence? People walk across the street and there's violence. And we got all of a sudden this election where everybody's at each other's throat and there's no violence. And I'm going to say that I'm very pleased that I do believe that the work that we did, having to do with icing down the other dimensions of the United States, is what controlled that violence. But we didn't just ice down the country. We iced down the people. And we particularly iced down Washington, D.C. And then at 8 o'clock at night, last night, after the elections was won, the 5th, correct, we had black magic in the center of the country. That level of magic is usually done by off-planet rage, Washington, D.C. area. And then this is a type of black magic to control. It's like you throw a net over somebody and you pull it, and then the person's in the net and you're controlling them. This is what was last night. And then we did the mantras. We iced down the country. We iced down Washington, D.C., the Senate, and whatever. And we iced down particularly the people that would, because of their anger, would say, we're trashing the results of the elections because da 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 da. We iced them down because there were people that had a plan. And I think that's been in the news. They had a plan. Doesn't matter if Trump wins, we've got documents and he's not going to be able to take over. We ice down these people. We don't need to identify who they are. We just ice down the people that are angry enough that they would want to stop the duly elected president from taking over the presidency. And then it was really nice. This is what we got when we finished the purification. This is like an Indian medicine wheel, which is where everything is balanced. I don't know a lot about the Indian medicine wheel. And I don't honestly know a lot about this other than that this is a wonderful thing. I haven't had time to it. And you'll notice it today. There's no emotional violence. There is depression and people on the left, people that are losers from the election, not that they're losers, crying. But you're not seeing people in a rage. And when we checked last night, the people that had a document that they were going to pull out and say, he can't be president, amongst that group, and I don't know who they are, I don't care who they are, we're looking to balance the elements. But I could see that they were saying, several of them, I'm not going to do this. The country has spoken, and I'm not going against it. Now, how would that happen? We didn't mess with their minds at all. That's not free will is important. What we're doing is balancing the elements, and then everybody can think clearly and make the decisions that they want to make. It's their choice. If you don't have extra fire, you can't run around wanting to kill people, stop people, put them in jail. You can't. If you have somebody in a rage and you throw a bucket of cold water at them, they're not going to continue with the rage. You know that already. Well, that's Chinese medicine. Water puts out fire. Cancer is a disease of extra fire. I don't know how they work that with barley water. I don't know how they work that in Chinese medicine. That's a statement in Chinese medicine. Water puts out fire. I am going to draw the United States. I'm going to sketch the energies now, today, right now, and then I'm going to sketch us as a collective consciousness. I have not done that, and I should have continued to do it because I wouldn't have been so shocked by what's coming up with people, the wanting to die, not wanting to live, not wanting to get up, not wanting to do anything, not caring. So here we have the United States. I'm not sure which pens I'm going to need. And what you have is, oh, this is good. This is green, which is the color of healing, and it's also the color of the heart chakra. So we have that going on. We have green in the heart chakra. It's counterclockwise, which is rooting. So we're rooting a healing heart energy frequency. Oh, what I didn't finish telling you was the Great White Brotherhood that showed up with the spaceships above the United States did something that I've never seen them do. And what they did was be there and say, don't you dare. And they were talking about other off-planet forces that wanted to come in. Oh, now Francis has gone crazy. Why on earth why would I make that up? Oh, and it matches what the guys, all those ex-intelligence guys that are on Twitter, on X, and it matches what they're saying. We're not going to look too good to the world if we are not, and we are not, going to be the people leading the pack, leading the countries having to do with contact with the off-planet galactic beings. We're going to be in the back of the line. So when you go, oh, Francis, I'm going to go, darn, they're not ready yet. Okay. A little bit late. So anyway, so the Great White Brotherhood was up here and said, Anyway, we continued to work. Oh, that was what was important. I almost forgot. When we continued to work last night, we found that potential Yellowstone volcano, which is not a potential, it's a congestion of fire underneath that area. And we went ahead and we cleared it. We had a lot of help. And we think we made a huge difference in terms of that being a potential eruption that could basically end the United States. And science says that. So now so the United States looks great. There's nothing in it that doesn't look great. And again, we reduce the fire. So there's no big fighting. What people are doing is crying. And that hysterical crying is a good thing. Don't stop it. Let them be hysterical. Don't make fun of them. That's a volume of emotion in them. And the Trump derangement syndrome is somebody who is usually really, really nice, and they're so sweet and they say all the right things and they want to give everything to the people that are poor. But they've never really dealt with their real reaction to many things in their life, not just this political stuff. And hating Trump is a wonderful outlet for all of that rage that really has to do with something else. So let's let them express it and not make too much fun of them. And then that maybe they can get back to center. very important to handle what the planet is going through now, to handle it with a lot of multidimensional savvy. Because the main reason why we have to be savvy about the other dimensions is because the veils between dimensions have lifted, and the veils between this planet and other planets have lifted, and we're going to have to deal with all that stuff. So we might as well become more sophisticated, which really basically means more knowledgeable. Anyway, I have talked my way through the entire hour. So we will not be doing a mantra, no, but we are going to sketch the consciousness. Give me a second, I apologize. No, I need a sheet of paper. Give me a second. Now, this is the collective consciousness of this particular group. Okay. Yeah, well, that's not going to help us much because, okay. This is us, and we have 3 levels of protection of the heart, the green, healing. We don't have the 3rd because we don't need it anymore. What does that mean? I have no idea. I have no idea what that means. So, our 3rd eye is completely in terms of 1, which has a lot of people depressed because they're able to see stuff. They're able to see stuff that they've done wrong. That's a Tortuguero prophecy. We have the spaceships that are not going to be leaving until after Trump is installed. That's the information I'm getting right now. The Galactics will not be leaving until after he's installed, which means that there's still danger, that some people that have too much fire try to override the results of the elections. That protection is going to be there. This looks pretty good. So then why did I get all those people? Well, this is a sketch of this group. So I'm not sure what I should have asked for in order to be able to document on paper what it is that too many people in the 2 o'clock chat don't want to live. So I am going to put together the class where we're going to deal with a mantra, the wanting to die. It's a good mantra. It's very simple. Even though I want to die, I love and accept myself. And wanting to die and suicide is a result of the excess fire. You either get angry at other people and go at them, or you swallow that excess fire, and it pulls you down so much you don't want to live. You need that fire running through your body to vitalize you. Anyway, I have overtalked. I'm very happy about the elections. And I'm excited about the fact that the people that appear like they're going to be running the country are people that are like Elon Musk. Elon Musk can hear all of us. We're millions of people. How can he do that? I don't know. Maybe it's part of the age of Aquarius. He can hear all of us. Trump cares for all of us. Not sure he can hear all of us. I'm not sure it's necessary that he hear all of us, as long as he hires the kind of people that have the kind of intentions we want, such as RFK. I know this sounds very political, but actually I have a degree in political science. That made me a better courtesan, and I'm not joking. Okay? It also made me aware that politics is honestly, it's to entertain the masses. What is it? Karl Marx had said religion was the opium of the masses. Politics is the opium of the masses. Keep them arguing, and they're not watching what the bad guys are doing. I've talked enough. I'm Frances Fox, and I hope that I become your favorite psychic spy, and I hope that you listen, even though I may say a lot of things that it's just like great your ears and make you, that's not, come on. Just keep listening so that you can become spiritually sophisticated and know when there's troubles in your family, the kind of troubles that we've not had on the planet before, because I think until now we have not had the issues of zombies. And that was foretold in the Bible, the Mayans, the dolphins. Okay? You need that extra information. And thank you for joining me. We'll be here back again on Friday.